So first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High Yahweh, and we do so in the name of Hamashiach Yahushua, and I pray that this lesson is further edifying to whoever it comes across. So the last time we talked about hell and the lake of fire, I explained that the terms burn forever and eternal fire don't always equate to a never-ending fire. Instead, it can just mean a fire that burns for a long time. I also explained that hell is the grave or earth in general, and the lake of fire is a type of judgment for wicked nations that has happened more than once, proving the lake of fire is not really an eternal event, and it always happens on the earth, not beneath it. But today I want to leave the hell topic alone and address the lake of fire in a more direct fashion. I understand some people want to know where the lake of fire will be, and if it's on earth, how could it burn for what seems like forever if most fires go out after the greenery is burnt up? These are honestly good questions.
That is an excellent question.
So for this video, I decided to finally address them using the Bible, the smallest amount of science, and real world events. So for today's video, we will address the location of the lake of fire, how it will start, and why it will burn for so long. Lord willing, whoever has ears to hear is further edified. So first, let's start with Jeremiah 50 and 32, and it reads, "And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him." So we know this prophecy is talking about Babylon due to verse 29 of this same chapter, keeping Babylon the subject matter. And I've made videos explaining how the name Babylon represents the United States when seen in future prophecy. With this being said, the verse above is telling us the US will be destroyed due to fire being spread all throughout its cities. And Job 18 and 15 shows us this fire will come with brimstone as well. This judgment of fire and brimstone will start when Russia and its allies send nuclear missiles to this land, as it is written in Jeremiah 50 and 9. And this is also the same judgment we see in the book of Revelation. So Revelations 19 and 20, and it reads, "And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone." So for context, the beast is the NATO alliance, which consists of Edomites, assimilated Japhites, Japanese Ammonites, and others. The false prophet represents the Edomites as a whole, due to them being the ones who lead the beast system. The mark of the beast is the RFID chip, the Neuralink device, and all of their variants. With that being said, here we see NATO and the unsaved Edomites being thrown into the lake of fire. But now that we know that the lake of fire is just a judgment of fire on the land of the United States, we can also understand that those who are thrown in the lake of fire are really just brought to the US and thrown inside the flames, as it is written in Revelations 14 and 10. Alright, so as many know, a fire can only exist if there is something to burn. If that flammable source is burned up, there is nothing left to fuel the fire, thus causing the fire to go out. So now I'll explain how a land can stay on fire after the greenery is gone. Located in the desert of Turkmenistan is a ginormous pit. This pit was created in 1971 when a group of geologists decided to dig an unnecessarily big hole in the Karakum Desert while searching for oil. This hole was centered over an even bigger pocket of natural gas known as methane. So after digging deep enough, they exposed the methane, causing them to stop digging and go home. Eventually, the methane leaked into the air, killing the surrounding animals and causing the government to step in. But instead of just refilling the hole with dirt, they chose to ignite the methane and let it burn out. But then, it never stopped burning. And this was due to there being an even bigger flow of methane underneath the pocket they ignited. So now, 52 years later, there is a large hole burning in the middle of the desert with the same force it had 52 years ago.
You might have to see it to believe it, but Earth has its very own gates of hell. Also known as the Darvaza gas crater, it's pretty clear why this hellish pit was given its moniker. The 230-foot wide natural gas crater located in the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan has been on fire for more than 40 years. There are different reports for how it was formed, but the crater was allegedly created in 1971 when geologists were drilling for oil. Supposedly, they accidentally drilled straight into a pocket of natural gas, causing it to collapse. Gas was escaping from the crater, so scientists set it on fire to contain the gas and burn it away. But they didn't realize that more gas was going to continue to feed the crater, which has led to this decades-long fire.
This is all important because there is naturally methane in the ground all over the world, including in the US. And if the BRICS sent all of their nukes to the US at once, all of the methane underneath the land will be exposed in the explosion. Now, scientists already don't know how much methane is in the earth, but if one methane hole in the desert can burn for 52 years, why wouldn't the US burn for even longer after nukes ignite all the methane underneath the land?
When added up, Russia's land-based ICBM force can deliver a total explosive yield of 150,000 kilotons, or 19,000 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped on Nagasaki in 1945.
So in simple words, if strong enough nukes hit the US, it could easily ignite methane gases in the land and cause an almost never-ending fire to begin. Now that we know where the lake of fire will be, how it will start, and why it will burn for so long, let's see if the lake of fire will actually burn for an eternity. So Jeremiah 51 and 58, and it reads, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary." So again, the lake of fire will be at Babylon, and there will be people who are judging this fire for their sin. But now let's go back a couple verses to get more context. So Jeremiah 51 and 49, and it reads, "As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth." Now ask yourself, how could all the sinners of the earth die in the United States during judgment? To answer this question, we need to once again refer to Revelations 19 and 20, where we see NATO and the Edomites physically brought to the US after it's on fire. As for the sinners outside of NATO, those people will be made slaves during the millennial reign, and after 1,000 years of servitude, they will be released. After this, the heathen nations will link up to create an alliance and go to war with Israel.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! This is where they die! And these shields, boys!
Most of these people will be destroyed, as it is written in Ezekiel 38 and 22, but Revelations 20 and 10 shows us the heathen who survived will be brought to the same lake of fire the Edomites and NATO were thrown into, which was started in the US, and this is how all of the slain of the earth will fall at Babylon. At this point, some might ask why Revelations 20 and 10 says they will be tormented forever. But as I explained in my video about hell, the word forever doesn't always mean for eternity. But to prove this point, let's break down one more verse and then wrap this up. So for the last verse, let's hit Malachi 4 and 3, and it reads, "And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts." So I know I touched on this verse in the video about hell, but it's still relevant for this video. In this verse, we see that after all the judgment is said and done, the righteous will walk over the ashes of the wicked. This is interesting because the only way they could do this is if they walked inside the fire with indestructible bodies, or if the fire went out. Even though we will have perfect bodies, I doubt we'll play in the lake of fire for fun.
That's a stupid idea.
What?
It's a stupid idea. You're a stupid man. A stupid man.
Ow! You're hurting me! Stop it! Stop it, Lois!
No, I'm so sick of your crap. Why do you always do these stupid things? And why do you always announce them to me before you do them? Are you trying to get a rise out of me? Are you happy now? Is this what you want?
Oh, no, it's not what I want! It's not what I want! I'm sorry! I'm sorry! It's never been this bad before.
So it would only make sense that the righteous walked over the ashes after the fire went out. With this being said, this verse proves the lake of fire is not eternal. So to wrap this up, the lake of fire is not a mythological place that burns forever. It is a judgment of fire on a body of land. And this land is the United States, and the fire could burn over 1,000 years due to the methane deposits found within. Also, never forget, this will not be an eternal fire. Lord willing, this lesson was further edifying to whoever had ears to hear. Shalom.